Cantering problems in horses, and this can be anything, like your horse is struggling to pick up canter, or you've got a horse that canters one way beautifully and then the other direction they feel like, you know, you're in a tumble dryer or like a washing machine. You know that feeling of like it's just so discombobulated and something is going on, but the other rein is effortless. Like the canter for a horse is and should be the most easiest gait. Like it's their natural gait. You see horses in the wild cantering, like it's, and most of us know that really, like that feeling of when you're on a horse that has a beautiful canter. It's like a rocking horse canter, isn't it? It's just really like makes it all worth it. So if your horse is struggling to canter, in this episode today, I'm going to go through the areas of the body. There's 3 sections of the body that I look at, but there's 5 areas in terms of what's wrong that could be causing that canter problem. So let's go through it today. By the way, if you don't know me, I'm Nika. Thank you for watching this video and welcome to my channel. If you haven't already, don't forget to give me a subscribe and follow. Every single one counts. Okay, so assessing the horse and figuring out what's going on, why this horse is struggling to canter. I like to break the body up into sections. So section 1 that I look at is the haunches, aka the pelvic girdle, the powerhouse of your horse. So when I mean haunches, I don't mean the hind limbs alone, okay? We're all obsessed with like the stifle, with the hock. You know, most of us have those injected first, and the sacroiliac, oh my God, without really understanding the pelvic girdle and the haunches. So if you're looking at your horse right now, it's the haunches, and the section I'm talking about is the area from behind the saddle area. So what I call as a body worker, the thoracolumbar junction, aka the TL junction. That's a really key pivotal stability point in the horse's back, because the vertebra, if you want to get all anatomy wise, the vertebra changes angle in the horse at that area of the spine. That from there backwards towards the tail is what I'm referring to. So I look at that area, I look at how the second most mobile joint in the body, the lumbar sacral joint, aka the LSJ, fancy term, how that is flexing and extending. So imagine the canter, right? It's not like the trot, where imagine the trot is like 2, let's just keep it really practical, like 2 ironing boards, like trotting next to each other, back and forth, zigzag. Versus the canter, it's all about how the spine is functioning in flexion and extension. Do you ever do like a cat-cow on the floor? You know, it's quite a well-known body opener or mobilization or movement that a lot of us know, especially if you do like Pilates or yoga. So that's that cat-cow is what our horses are doing with their spine during the canter. Now, I'm looking at that area, obviously the last part of the spine going into the pelvis, how that area is cat-cowing, basically flexing and extending. If it's like a plank of wood and there's just absolutely zero cat-cow movement, then I know, okay, I need to look at that area, and is there an issue or problem going on? The second thing is, if you look at the hind legs, and this is from the hip down, is the horse toe dragging, toe stabbing? Is the horse tighter or restricted or shorter in one limb compared to the other? What's the tail doing? The tail is such a key indicator of how the spine is functioning. So if the tail is stuck to one side, clamped to one area, I see this often, horses that struggle with cantering on one side, where they hold their quarters in, and you'll see their tail will also start to clamp to one side as well. Now, that is a key indicator for me that, again, there is something either blocked, stuck, restricted in the spinal column, causing that tail to go to one side. It can also be associated with muscle tension through the attachment points onto like the hips, the soft tissue attachment points onto the stifle, etc., which can also cause that tail to go to one side. Okay, that's section 1, that's the haunches. Section 2 I like to look at is the front limb. Now when I say front limb, I don't mean from the carpus of the horse, the fetlock on the hoof, which, let's face it, most veterinarians, most of us, are obsessed with limb lameness, suspensories, knee issue, fetlock, check ligaments, and all of those are 100% valid. But in this area, when I'm talking about cantering, I'm also talking about above the carpus. I'm talking about what's going on in the humerus, the shoulder, the joint, the scapula, and all of those attachment points onto things like the scapula, the shoulder, all those soft tissue connection points, and then also things like the most mobile area of the horse's body is called the it's called the cervical thoracic junction. Bit of a play on the tongue. So that CTJ is what I call it, is the most mobile junction in a horse's body, and it is so overlooked. I look at this even when people doing like in-hand work or ground work, whatever word you want to use, basically working your horse from the ground with no rider on. I see this so often where so many riders will underestimate the influence that they are putting that CTJ under. So if you are holding your horse quite short by the rein, by the lunge line, and you're compressing that CTJ, you're having a real significant effect on the entire spine, especially how the horse moves his shoulders, his neck, because you are fundamentally compressing that CTJ, the most mobile joint in the body. So if there's any issue in the shoulder girdle, aka that section number 2, then the horse will struggle to canter, will struggle to pick up a canter, and it also will affect, by the way, lead changes. The third section is the rib cage. The rib cage is basically where we are sat as riders. And remember, we ride the body of the horse, right? We ride the body and then influence the limbs, influence the legs, how they move. So rib cage, I've ridden so many horses, and I'm sure you have as well, which is probably why you're still listening, where bending to the left might feel so super smooth, the rib cage feels quite mobile, you put your legs on and you change direction to the left and it's effortless. Then you want to go to the right and it's like your horse has been hit by a car or hit a brick wall, because suddenly something's fixed. It's like a sticking position. The rib cage can then sometimes bulge over to the right. Some horses then also block in their shoulder, so then you have this head come in the air, fighting and resisting the contact, and you're like, what on earth happened? All I did was change direction. So this is why this section number 3 is so important when you're looking at struggling in the canter with your horse. So in summary, those are the 3 sections. Section 1, the haunches, pelvic girdle. Section 2 is the shoulder girdle, forelimb. Section 3 is the rib cage. Have a look at those areas. Comment below if you have any questions. I love to hear from you. It is a real privilege that we live in today, where we can put videos like this online, and you guys can subscribe and follow and ask questions. I'm a normal human being. I love horses, and I genuinely get so much fulfillment and joy when people message in and say, oh my god, Nika, I watched your video and I spoke to my vet or my therapist about what I saw, and my horse is now so much better. That's why I do this. That's why I put these videos together. That's why I get them edited. That's why I spend time doing this, because I want to inspire and help all of you around the world. So yeah, I'm truly grateful that you are a subscriber and that you guys are, typing in or just liking. And stay tuned for the next video, because I'm going to talk to you about warming up and cooling down in horses, performance horses.